like to give a quick shout out to Books to Life Marketing, the team making it all possible. They specialize in helping authors bring their stories to life through expert publishing, marketing, media exposure. They're behind some of the most inspiring author journeys we've seen. If you're an author looking to elevate your book, Books to Life Marketing is the partner you want in your corner. And our guest today is Sue's Buzzeo. Sue, thanks for stopping by. And before we get started, I wanted to talk about, you're the author of Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. I wanted to
Yep.
dive a little bit deep into specifically your background. At the time of writing this book, Sue was coming out of her fourth marriage to someone who had a drinking problem and was being violent towards her. She had no intention of getting involved with anyone at that time, let alone consider marriage. Then she met Mark, who fell in love with her instantly. For Sue, marriage was the last thing on her mind, but Mark did not give up. So I'm excited that you're coming by to tell the story. How are you, Sue?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you for inviting me onto your show.
All right. So
Pleasure.
what made you sit down one day and start writing this book?
So I wrote it in 2008 and my cancer journey started in 2004. So I think I just wanted to help educate people who are maybe going on that journey themselves, or who perhaps have a family member or a friend who is going through cancer, because it is such a tough path to navigate. There were so many things that I didn't know when I first was diagnosed with cancer. The language that was being used, loads of words that I didn't understand, the process, the procedures that were involved. And I just wanted to share that with whoever wanted to buy my book and just help them along and educate them a little bit in terms of cancer and what that means. It is not a death sentence when you get diagnosed with cancer. And I wanted to share that with people, that there is life after an initial diagnosis.
Absolutely. And that's true because a lot of people have been able to overcome cancer. What emotions did you feel when you had this diagnosis?
Shocked, absolutely shocked. There'd been nobody in my family that had cancer, so it kind of came out of the blue. When I first found the lump in my breast, I had breast cancer. It was so tiny. It was the size of a pea. So it's like, how can something so small be so drastic? So I was shocked, upset. My husband was obviously upset. We weren't married when we got the diagnosis, but we married, I think, about 4 months after that. But I wasn't angry. I didn't get angry with God. It was just, okay, so we're now on this path and let's see how we navigate this.
Totally, 100%. Because we have to, when tough things happen, we have to kind of gear up and say, okay, this is what's happening
Yep.
to us, but we can't give up. We have to move forward,
Yep.
regardless of where we are and what's the most difficult situation, because giving up is just not an option for you, is it?
For me, absolutely not. And that's not to say I didn't have bad days. I mean, a couple of, I don't know whether you know, but my cancer journey didn't stop. It came back in 2019. So I am now stage 4 cancer, which is not curable, it's only treatable. And only a week ago, I was sobbing with my husband saying, you know, I'm on my 72nd round of chemotherapy
Oh,
and I don't know how I can keep going. And I might have to stop. And kind of the look on his face when I said, um, I might have to stop because I can't do it anymore. And then I thought, no, I got to keep going.
I'm so sorry. How do you arrive at the title Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow?
Well, I guess I'm a bit of a cheeky chappy. So I didn't want to have a title, Dying with Cancer. That's not who I am. Um, and obviously, I lost my hair when I went through chemotherapy. Well, cancer didn't take my hair, I took it. Cancer was not going to take my hair. So I gave my husband the clippers and I said, shave it. So before I started my treatment, I was absolutely determined, cancer, you're not having this. This is my round, and I'm going to take my hair. So it was a really sensitive topic for many ladies. It is about their identity. It, can you have a good hair day and you have a bad hair day. So I think it's really important for women to know that once your hair's gone, everything's gone okay, it'll come back and you'll get your hair again. So I've got my hair again, and this type of cancer, I haven't lost my hair with it, but I've been prepared to lose it. So it's just a really emotional subject, I think. But I do think that society is getting better at how we treat people who don't necessarily look the same as us. And I think that's really important, to be kind to a lady who's maybe walking around with a bald head. Chances are she's going through chemotherapy, and just giving her a smile and a nod. I know what you're going through. Just, I'm hoping would help her on that day.
Absolutely. It's something where you have to have that hope, even through what you're going through. And I definitely have seen some amazing stories of people even overcoming stage 4 cancer. So did not give up, especially what I'm seeing some of these alternative things that people are doing in the United States. It's unreal with cancer. So I would look at every option possible before saying, okay, listening to what the doctors say. You do
Yeah,
not. You keep fighting. That's for sure.
I
You,
will. And
you,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do feel very strongly that I'm going to be healed. We are praying in my church and other churches in the States, in Canada, in Nigeria. I have a whole group of people praying, and I just believe that God has the power to heal today as much as he did when he walked on the earth. So I'm waiting for that healing.
All right. I will definitely contact your team because I really do have some contacts in the United States that have found some alternatives that have been
Well,
unbelievable for beating cancer.
thank
You
you.
share a number of stories in the book about other people's reactions to having no hair. Can you give our listeners a few examples?
Yeah, I think the hardest example was when I came out of the hospital after a treatment. And as you come out the hospital, there's a pedestrian crossing. And so we stopped. We had to stop. It's a red light. And there were kids that were walking across the pedestrian crossing. Um, and they were about 14 or 15. And one of them spotted me in the car. And I just had a bald head. I wasn't wearing a scarf or a hat or anything. And he just pointed at me and burst out laughing and told all his friends, and they were turning around looking at me. And I was like, I couldn't say to my husband, step on it, let's get out of here. I had to sit there while they laughed at me. So that was really hard, but I had fun with it as well. We were getting pestered day after day just before Halloween by some kids. Will you give us some money? Have you got any sweeties? And I was like, no, come back on Halloween. Well, they kept coming. So I think it was probably about 2 days before Halloween. And I thought, I'm going to have some fun with this. So I switched all the lights off, and they knocked on the door. And I just opened the door and they went, rah! And they just ran. And we had no kids coming on Halloween. Nobody wanted any sweeties from me anymore. So, yeah, some
And
fun.
yeah, absolutely. Because you have to laugh about things that even are very
Sure.
painful at times.
Sure.
Exactly. Absolutely. You were first diagnosed with cancer in 2004, which you mentioned before,
Yeah.
and you talked about you're not cancer free today, and that's hard. I think when you wrote the book, did you know that you weren't going to be cancer free? Is that one of the
No,
motivations to write it?
no. When I wrote the book, I was still in treatment. It didn't finish until 2010. And when treatment finished, we met with someone who said, there are 5 places that your cancer can come back. It can come back in the breast, the bones, the liver, the lungs, and the brain. And we've written it all down for you. And I'm thinking, well, what do you want me to do with this? You know, well, you could pop it on your fridge. No way am I putting it on my fridge. So I tore it up, put it in the bin, and it was just important for Mark and I to start living life again without cancer, without hospitals, without appointments. So did I know it was a possibility it could come back? Yes. But when it came back, I was in hospital for something completely different. I had pancreatitis and I had it 3 times.
Oh my.
And trust me, it's not pleasant. It's really painful. And I'd gone for a scan, and I guess they were checking to see if there was anything untoward in my pancreas. And this suddenly a whole team of white coats came round my bed. Mark was visiting at the time. And this lovely lady stuck out her hand and she said, "Can I introduce myself? I'm a breast consultant." And I said, "Oh," I said, "I'm not breast, I'm pancreas. I don't know who else here is breast, but it's not me." And she just smiled kindly and she said, "No, it is you I want to speak to." She said, "We did the CT scan on your pancreas, and the radiologist, whilst he wouldn't necessarily have been looking anywhere else, spotted that you have lesions in your spine. So I'm sorry to tell you that your breast cancer has metastasized to your bones. So currently, it's all over my spine, both my hips, my left leg, both my ribs, and it's moved into my lungs now, to my sacrum. It's everywhere. So it's not a great position to be in, but yeah, it's back. But I'm fighting back.
So basically, they said, why do they feel when it's stage 4 that there's no way to recover, the doctors and stuff? And you just keep going. Go ahead.
Because when it's stage 4, it's not curable. So that's the definition of being at stage 4. It's not curable, but we can treat you. And so we'll treat you for as long as you can tolerate it. We will treat you for the pain that obviously cancer brings with it, and especially when it's in your bones. But we can never cure you. And that's the position that the medics have. That's the stance that they have. So, yeah, when they told us, I mean, Mark and I were just totally shocked. And after Mark had left from visiting, I just cried. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, they phoned Mark and said, "Can you come back in? Your wife is inconsolable." And it was just the thought of, it's A, it's back, and B, I have to tell my family all over again that we're facing this. I have to go and tell my mum, who's now, she was approaching her 90s. And that's the hardest thing ever, because, you know, as soon as you knock on the door, you're going to change their world forever. Because as soon as you're in the house, you're giving them the news. It's back and it's stage 4. So, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And what have you've reached out to the cancer community? Tell me that process and how some people are still giving you more hope than the doctors are. Because that's the big thing. We decide in
Yep.
so many ways. Are we going to give up and listen to what the doctors say? Or are we going to go and try every alternative method or idea or different thing that you can do?
Yeah, I think we are so much more as a society open to not necessarily just going down the traditional forms of treatment. And I think that's great. When I first got diagnosed with secondary bone metastases, I mean, I'd never come across the word secondary metastases. And I'm like, what does this mean? I don't understand this language. And I knew that there would be other people in my situation. So I set up a group on Facebook, and I've got just about 700 followers. But it just means that we can come together as a community and people who have just been diagnosed, or maybe their husbands have been diagnosed. They come onto the forum and they're asking questions and sharing different types of cancer treatments that they're doing. So it's just a safe place for people to be able to come and ask those questions that maybe they won't want to ask their oncologist, or they don't want to ask their family members. So that's been great to be able to see that start from 1, 2, 3 people, and now we've got nearly 700 people all across the world. And there are some hard stories. There was a lady from the Philippines who contacted me, and she said, "Can you help me? I can't afford my mother's chemotherapy, and she's going to die without it." And I felt awful, but obviously I can't be sending money to everybody who's in that situation. But we were able to talk, and we did, and I hope that had given us some comfort. But yeah, it's a great community. I get a lot from it, and I hope other people have got a lot from it as well.
Absolutely. And that's important. And building this community, getting to talk to people, is so important. And what do you think people are going to learn most about your book? What's your hope?
That a cancer diagnosis is not a death sentence. There is life after cancer. And I think my approach to cancer was having a positive mental attitude. And I think I am living to live. I'm not living to die. I'm living to live. And I remember I was in a cancer group, and this lady was sharing with us that her husband wanted to buy her a winter coat, and it was in a summer sale. And she was furious with him. And I said, "Excuse me," I said, can I just ask why you're so cross?" And she said, "I could be dead." I mean, yeah, but you could still be alive. And, it's like, don't live to die, live to live,
Mm-hmm.
make plans, go on holiday. I've been all over America. I've been to Canada 3 times. We've just been down the Blue Danube, and that was beautiful. And I'm planning my next trip, which might be to San Diego. I'm not sure, but I'm living to live. I'm not planning to die. And I just think that makes a huge difference mentally in how you approach each day.
You committed to donate some of your royalties to cancer charities as your way of raising money for cancer research. Have you
Yeah.
done anything else to help others diagnosed with breast cancer?
Yes, my husband wasn't too thrilled. So I signed us up to do a moonwalk, and kind of the clues in the title, but I didn't get it. Like, we starting when the moon is out. It's like, oh, I gotta stay up that late. I'm normally in bed by about 6:30. So I didn't do any training. I took 3 Mars bars and a bottle of morphine, and I thought that'll get me through. I got to 23 miles and I collapsed, and I was taken by ambulance to the hospital. And the doctors were furious with me for doing it. I'd only just finished my chemo treatment. And then 4 years later, I wanted to raise money again, because even though I didn't finish, people kindly paid the sponsorship. So I did it again, and I told my husband, "Sweetheart, we're walking another 26 miles," because I'm a completer finisher. It's not in my nature. I stopped at 23 miles. I need to make it to 26 miles. So we walked again. I did my 26 miles. I got my sponsorship money to raise money for cancer charities. And I collapsed at 26 miles and got taken to hospital. But I finished this time. So, yes, no more walking for me, no more sponsorships for me. So I thought, if I write a book, then whatever I get in royalties, I can give to breast cancer or cancer research.
Wonderful. I mean, I think that's tremendous, and you're a hero to other people because you're truly thinking of others, even in the most challenging part of your life. When you get to talk to other people that were diagnosed with cancer and are fighting cancer, How many of them do you see with your attitude versus some that just don't have that attitude? And you feel bad because that's going to be the quicker way for them for cancer to beat them.
Sadly, there are a lot of people who I've met who have just thought this is it and have resigned themselves to die. But I have met a lovely group. We call ourselves the Living Well group instead of the About to Die group. So we're the Living Well group, and we all try and have a positive attitude. That doesn't mean to say that we're not realistic. Part of our conversations, our discussions are, have we made a will? Have we sorted out where we want to be buried? Have we left instructions for spouses? It doesn't mean you can't do any of that. And I've done that. I've got my burial plot. I've even lain in my burial plot because usually when you're alive, you don't get to try it out. So I tried it out and I lay down, and this is where I'm going to get buried. So it doesn't mean to say that you can't do things like that that are, sensible to do for your family, preparing them, but just keep yourself focused on living and what else you can continue to give to society, to your family, to other people. And it's been great to meet like-minded people.
Absolutely. It sounds like it. It's definitely an amazing thing that you're talking about to meet these people and live your life because ultimately at the end of the day we don't live enough, right? We don't
No.
look at we don't have a purpose. Lots of people just don't have purpose, and sometimes cancer brings that purpose, which is a weird thing, right? You think
Yeah.
about that, right? You have a
Yeah.
purpose now every morning to wake up and be happy to be alive, and you feel for people that are going through so much heartache that don't have this diagnosis,
Yeah.
do not know when they know it's coming, their day.
Yeah.
And what do you say to people like that?
I guess it depends what their background is. It depends what it is that has brought them to this particular point where they are negative in their mindset. The only thing that I can do is try and live by example, is to try and help them if they're speaking to me and they understand my position and what I'm going through. Yeah, lots of people say, you're not afraid of dying. Um, the one thing that we can be guaranteed of is that after we're born, we're going to die at some point, and nobody knows when that is. Nobody's got their death date. Our death date are not on our scans, on our scan reports. So none of us know that.
That someday it's going to happen soon. Could you imagine what that would mean for people when
Yeah,
technology hits that?
yeah,
There was a movie out like that, a few movies, and it's like where you know your death date. That's
yeah,
science fiction. But I
yeah,
think that that would make people different about life. We need the biggest scare in the world. And Sue, I think that, you talk about, oh, how surprised you were. Our healthcare system really needs to look at things further about early detection of cancer, early
definitely.
detection of for people to see the importance of healthcare and to understand that we don't wait till we get this scare to happen, that we look at things earlier. And I hope that we
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
In the United States, they're trying to transform healthcare and change the way it is. And I'm sure in the UK, the same thing. You want a change of how healthcare. So you have this platform. How would you change healthcare to make sure that we can eliminate cancer or make cancer less prevalent?
wow, that's a big question. I mean, I don't know whether you know that in the UK, the NHS, our National Health Service, is on its knees at the moment. We don't have enough funding. The waiting lists are enormous.
Oh, no.
Thankfully, for cancer, we are lucky in the sense that when you are referred by your general practitioner to the hospital, they have 10 days to see you. And they do see you within those 10 days more often than not. But, there are so many tests that are taking place. There are so many trials that are taking place. There is going to be a day when we get it and we can fix cancer. It's happened for other illnesses. It will happen for cancer.
We have AI now. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
One, I don't know. That's another thing I would tell you is if you have ChatGPT, they just launched ChatGPT 5.0 or throughout the world. This is my tip for you. Go in there and talk to it. Talk to
Yeah.
your talk. There's a voice one. And if you're going to invest in anything, invest in AI to figure this out and then take that to your healthcare professionals because they're going to look at the alternatives that are out there. And you're going to have the greatest research in the world to find some research person that wants to keep you living. And that's the problem that we run into. But it looks like you will do anything possible to make sure that you.
Yeah, I think, sorry, that was rude. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I
No,
think
no.
that our healthcare professionals, sometimes they're resistant. If I walked into my oncologist and said, right, I've done this chemo for 72 cycles and I'm kind of done with it, and I want to try something different, I don't know how open they would be. I
See
know
that?
people who've done that and they've been shut down
Oh,
because,
that's called gaslighting. Doctor
yeah,
gaslighting, and it's
yeah,
awful. I have one of my doctor clients that says I don't like it. I've had it too, where I go, no, no, that's that specialist, that specialist. I said, I just went through AI, and honestly, you should look at what Sam Altman said. Sam Altman said basically ChatGPT 5.0 is going to be
yeah,
one of the best healthcare consults in the world with the types of knowledge and ability that he has. He says it's scary. He calls it like the Manhattan Project. So I'm waiting to dive deeper to see where that is. But what I'm saying for you, I've done it in law. I've done it with my health. Go in there and spend that journey. And
yeah,
I know people already that I'm working with that have used alternatives to become cancer free.
yeah. I've met
So
someone, and I was on the phone with a lady 2 months ago. She was stage 4. She's now cancer free. I'm reading a book at the moment called How to Starve Cancer Without Starving Yourself. And
mm,
this lady just rejected the traditional ways of treating cancer. And she did it herself by diet and a whole bunch of other things. It wasn't just what
absolutely.
she ate, more complex than that. But yeah, there is so much more out there than just the traditional medicine.
All right. But I would use the research that you have at your fingertips
Yeah.
and just get the 40-pound version of ChatGPT so you don't get a limit or whatever limit you spend it. Trust me
I've
on,
never heard of it, but I'll look
huh?
into it.
You know, oh my goodness. It would be something that I absolutely will send your PR team
Okay.
all this information. But where can people go and purchase the book? Where can they go?
You can get it online. So you can get a Kindle version and you can get it online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Don't know whether you have that over here, Waterstones, Blackwells, etc. So just have a look around on the internet. I am looking, as a result of speaking with Books for Life, I am looking to republish.
Great.
So my book that is out at the moment takes us up to getting through my first journey with cancer. And I am typing as fast as I can type. Actually, I'm dictating it, so that's a bit of a lie. Didn't mean to lie. But I'm now writing what happened from 2019 when I got diagnosed with stage 4. And
Fantastic.
that's in the process at the moment. So the
Good.
updated book should be out
I
hopefully
think I
for you.
think your journey is going to be amazing if you do the research. But I appreciate it, Sue.